This is the Rest of Everest video podcast, an almost unabridged expedition experience. Episode 43, 20,000 Leagues Above the Sea.
Hey,
Well, hello again, everyone. Welcome back to the Rest of Everest video podcast. I'm John Miller. Today we're going to be taking a more in-depth look at one of the other camps, the Royal Navy Royal Marines. Now, we've been there before. The highest cinema in the world was there at their camp, but this time we're going to really look into their camp, get to know some of their people, and some of the things they had going on there. They were doing some really interesting stuff, and they had some really great people. I spent a lot of time at their camp, and they helped out a lot of people, including saving some lives. So I wanted to kind of focus on them for a little bit. But before we get up there, I just want to say thanks to everyone who's written reviews on iTunes. At the US iTunes store, we've now reached 50 positive reviews, and they're all the highest number of stars, all 5 stars. So I want to thank everyone for that. Keep them coming. It really helps out, helps me out, helps spread the word of the show. So anyway, enough of that. Let's get back up to base camp. Here we go. All right, so you can see that it's a pretty different situation. They are a lot more people than most of the expeditions that were there that only had a handful of people. You think of that French dinner from French Cooking Part 2, and it was a much different situation, just a handful of people. This was a large group, and so they had a few different requirements and had to be pretty in tune with their cook staff to let people know how many people are going to be eating and everything. You'll hear more about that in this episode, but as we visit their kitchen. But a lot of people. There's Frankie, I believe, in the background there. And as memory serves, he went back in 2006. There's Jake in the front with the coleslaw. He's the one who filmed most of the Royal Navy footage from up high in the mountain that I've used, thanks to him. Got all that good footage up there.
Like, her mum and dad were originally from South Wales, but the guys used to go to sea, and like my great gran used to obviously bring up the kids, but she used to make fish eye soup. She used to suck the eyes at a fish. No way! Gob them into the pan to go towards the soup.
Nice.
We're bloody hard as nails.
I suppose the enzyme.
I just pretend to record. It makes people feel good about themselves.
That was Pat. You guys got to meet Pat in last week's episode.
You are so full of
Up there in the front, that's Swifty. I believe his name was Darren Swift. Everyone called him Swifty. There, that woman there, that's Fiona Shepard. Spoken about her before, one of the few women that were up at base camp. I got to know her really well. We became good friends. Really nice person. She was working there in a kind of a PR capacity, among other things. So we spent a lot of time together, with the other people there at their camp. I just can't imagine what it was like to cook for them every day. Of course, not everyone was always up there. Hey, that's Nick right there. He's the expedition leader for the Royal Navy Royal Marines. See, he got a little bit of frost nipped on his face, a little bit of windburn. Alright, this is just a little thing here. I've mentioned it before in the podcast, but what you can't tell from this footage is that all of those pair halves were hot. They were all hot. Everything was always completely cooked. Because, typically you'd pull something out of a big can and it would be frozen solid because it was cold there at night and everything always was frozen. So always had to heat everything up. So even when you had fruit cocktail, it was always frozen and then heated up. There's Steve there. He's with our communications manager. Another thing to keep in mind is that a lot of these guys, yes, they're climbers, they're mountaineers and everything, but of course, they're also in the Navy and in the Marines here, and a lot of them had just been on tours in Afghanistan, and some of them you know, we're going to be heading to Iraq, because this is 2003 and the Iraq War was about a month old.
Minimum distance on it with the jump.
And so here's Dave, Big Dave Cummins.
So I mean, you could have it 1 meter away. You know?
But so, you know, they had other things going on besides Everest. Really unique group of people. With the red hair there, that's their doctor. That's Andy.
Yes.
Right, when you find
And
some
that's
blood
Nick,
vessels,
again, the
if it's
expedition
not quite in
leader.
focus, then turn the wheel a bit.
It's beautifully in focus.
And then you, about there should be the hemorrhage actually, not far off.
Isn't that amazing? Fantastic. Do you want to examine me now for camera?
Did you dilate your eye? Oh, yes, you did.
It's just a bit.
It's like, okay, yeah,
yes.
yeah. Andy's eyes were fully dilated.
Okay.
I think you're right.
I don't know if that.
I think it's coming from constant flow back to.
Yeah.
We need to stop breathing.
Yeah.
Because I've tried changing the doses and breathing still.
Oh, there's a tiny little one, yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
That's fine.
Good. That is it. That's about where it is as well. Yeah. That is where it is. Yeah. That one's got the little one in it.
Resettle maybe. Oh.
Giving the person the wrong sign.
Tiny little flare there.
What are you looking for?
I'm looking for hemorrhages in the retina. When you're at altitude, certainly at this altitude, probably 80% of people have got hemorrhages to one degree or another. And they're normally completely asymptomatic and don't cause any problems. But occasionally, if they're right in the middle of vision, then right in the middle of a place we call the macula, then they can cause problems because they can interrupt your vision. But they normally resolve spontaneously when you get to sea level without any problems whatsoever. I think that's just the one.
Excellent.
I can't see any others.
No, I can't see any others from blinking certainly.
Andy was a great resource to have, and
Oh, there you go.
they shared
I think that's
they
what
shared
it's
him with other teams, so other people were able to benefit from his medical advice and treatment. So that was really nice of them. Again, one more way that people step up and help each other while at base camp. So that's Rich with the blonde hair there, and another Dave. Dave is these two were the primary climbing summit team for this expedition, and they have a special oxygen system that they were testing out. You'll hear Rich talk about it in a second here. But one more way, they had some really amazing things, and this is a groundbreaking oxygen delivery system. I think this system is actually coming into more use, or will be coming into more use soon, with high altitude mountaineering. I think it derives from a oxygen system used in fighter planes, but I could be wrong on that.
So you're on there, N, aren't you? Yeah. So that's 2 litres a minute, isn't it?
Well,
Yeah.
20,000 foot.
20,000 foot, yeah. Yeah.
And then if we want to go to manual, go all the way to the end of the menu. The last one is RNM. And that just gives you what's on there. It's 4 litres a minute. Let's go on to N.
It's a good noise though, doesn't it?
Sounds like
He's gonna blow!
It's like bring in the machine that goes.
Yeah. Something that flashes or beeps. Always a winner.
So that's all there is to it. Externally,
Yeah.
wow,
Just
what a difference.
Internally, he's
Yeah.
got this big tube up his arse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the tube goes all the way, comes down to here,
Oh,
and there's a
bring
huge
it on.
oxygen tank here.
And everyone's like that.
Yeah, yeah.
What's the difference between this one and that one?
Can you say and spell your name?
Yeah, my name's Richard Cantrell, which is CANTRILL.
And your title or rank or whatever.
I'm a captain in the Royal Marines.
Okay. All right. Well, you can look right here, and just what is this contraption you've got here, and what's the significance of it on this trip?
Right, well it's a brand new oxygen system developed by a British company called Summit Oxygen Limited. And as you can see, I'm breathing away on a nasal cannula. You've got a 3 litre cylinder with 900 litres of oxygen in. And unlike most systems where you get a constant flow of oxygen into a mask. This has got a magic contraption in the middle between me and the cylinder, which basically gives me a dose of oxygen when it thinks I need it. And when that is right at the beginning of my in-breath. Get a burst of oxygen, should go straight into my lungs and be used well. And when I'm breathing out, I don't get any, so none's wasted. The significance of that is this cylinder should last 3 times as long as a Poise cylinder. So for instance, I'm on about 2 litres a minute at the moment, and with that I'll get 22.5 hours from this. So that's a summit day on one bottle.
Also looks like there might be less to freeze up.
Yeah, you might be right. I mean, these are silicon cannulas. They stay flexible at -40. We've tested them in cold chambers, so should be alright. You also got the bonus of a lot of people find the mask claustrophobic. They can't see their feet when they're trying to mountaineer on the ridge. So this you can just wear balaclava and you're happy as a sandboy, as they say in England.
And again, you are testing it for the company. This is the first time on Everest.
It's the first time it's been used, yeah. So they're semi-sponsoring us. We're paying a partial fee, really, and this is their first year in high altitude mountaineering. So they're very interested to see it works, and so are we.
Next week.
Next week.
Yep.
We did some of the food this morning.
Yep.
It's just a question of going through a couple of things now and just confirming for you what's in them. In 108, just open that up.
Yep.
That's the emergency nutty and bits and pieces we need for the guys that are going to be here. Now you're going to be up at Advanced Base Camp initially while I'm down here. Then you come back with a couple of days handover.
That's Richard, their base camp manager, among other things.
Yeah, the kind of stuff we've got in here is all the nutty and the bits and pieces.
Look at all those candy bars.
It's just the emergency stuff.
Guess I'm hungry.
Yeah, exactly right.
Those are all
Okay,
Cadbury
food ones.
chocolate bars. There.
Just close that one up then.
Look at that. Oh, it's like gold, I tell
We've
you.
already started to reconfigure the barrels for recovering of all the kit from the guys. I talked about that briefly this morning, but again, just an example. If you look in this one here, 102, everything is on the manifest, as you've already seen.
I don't think Ben and I had a manifest when we were packing for this trip.
Okay, just come on round to Zumba. Just come round to Zumba. This is Pemba, who's obviously assistant cook. You can see things inside here are pretty clean considering this is a tent in pretty austere conditions. The chef Zumba is away at the moment. He's just getting some extra food, and he'll be back about 3:30, 4 o'clock to start the evening meal. It's very important when there's not many people here to keep the chefs informed of how many people are going to be here, when they're coming down, extra meals, early meals, that sort of thing. Usual routine.
And while they're just on the water run, so all the water comes from a frozen river just along the, just down the glacier. So they collect it in these big jerry cans, bring it back, boil it up to kill all the bugs, and then that's what we drink. But it's a busy old job for them, and they're always going backwards and forwards, which is a bit of a nightmare. Really. Makes you fit though, doesn't it? Strong, strong. Yeah.
Now, Pemba and Chumi is our Tibetan helper, and she goes and gets the water and also does the washing on a daily basis. And she has to carry those great big jerry cans, which are quite heavy, about 300 metres across the other side to pick the water up. And she goes across there about sort of 7 or 8 times every day to pick that up. So it's quite a arduous task for her. And you can see how huge she is.
I understand she's quite the tent rescuer.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, when we had the really strong winds, we lost one of our quasar tents. It blew right over the top, did a sort of box kite impression, and landed about 300 or 400 metres down the moraine. Chumi was off like a rabbit straight after it and rescued it, dived into the river and rescued it, and she's been famous ever since.
She'd also break into song, as I recall, at the top of her lungs, just belting out these Tibetan songs, just while she was working. Always caught me by surprise while I was in there.
We've got that one on as well. Excellent. Me too.
Look how friendly everyone is.
Okay, we're quite lucky with the infrastructure of the camp itself. We've obviously got the 2 major tents, which you've already seen. We've got a shower tent, 2 willing victims here.
That's as far as I'm going, I'm afraid.
It's great for the guys to be able to have a shower when they've been up in a mountain. It's only once or twice a week, but it makes such a difference to being not able to do that. Okay, we've each person has one Quasar 2-man tent. It's, again, quite luxurious because it means there's plenty of space. Unless you're very tall like Rich there, it's not so good. Or Dave Cummings, who's huge, but for most normal-sized people, it's great.
Might do for the first.
On the summit, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, if you're drinking it in the first few hours, but we're going to be living on reserves anyway, aren't we?
Yeah. Well, we'll have to have a close look at that ABC, I think. So I haven't quite had a chat with Rich, see what they've got, but I don't think they... Yeah, there's not that much food up at the high count. I think it's good.
These guys were always planning, very well prepared.
Initially, these were fairly basic toilets, but we have... This is now the Mark III toilet. The first 2 were blown down, so the first one was blown down during the storms. The second one was a bit of a rush job, but this version we're going to show you now is very impressive. And in fact, we've had people coming from all over Tibet to see this. Now, are you ready for this? And there you are.
There we go. This is the
Mark
luxury
III
facility
toilet.
that we have.
Complete with Economist magazine.
Magazine stand and everything. Is that padded?
Yeah, of course it is, yeah.
Yeah.
Cut it.
And it's heated as well.
Right.
The Mark II version is the open air version we have for those who like a bit of fresh air whilst and scenery as they contemplate life, which is just over here. It's a stone built version that we built after the storms blew our original toilets down. Got to see those. Yeah, definitely best view in Tibet, I think, without question.
It's amazing the things that become important.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, it is.
You guys just check, going out to get the water.
Yeah, I've got some shots of our guys getting those.
It's always interesting. Everyone is always enthused about the toilets. Much more so than the computers. So this is the inside.
Are you videoing now, John?
Stand there and lie your tits off and say, see this? Marvellous.
This is the portable camera that we're looking to take up the mountain with us to beam down footage down to here. It works on a microwave link, which shows the antenna, but at present we're not, and it should give us both video and audio. At the moment we're not getting anything out of it. We've just spoken to the designer, who's informed us that the audio is very debatable because it's on raw voltage from the transducers, but that the video should definitely be working. So what we're looking to do next is disconnect the actual video line and put it straight into a monitor to ensure that we aren't getting a video output from it. I'm actually one of the climbers on the expedition, so this is all a bit of a busman's holiday for me, since I'm an electrical engineer in the Navy.
Yeah, we're having problems. I've gone into
Cheers, John.
Yep.
That was Big Dave.
Good.
He was the driving force behind the cinema and the wonderful movie nights that we had. So this was their communications area of their tent.
At the moment, we've got Joe here, who's been filming with us for the last couple of hours. He's going to edit together a minute and a half footage.
They were having computer difficulties with their laptops, and so I was. They asked if I would film some stuff for them, which is what you are seeing here, all of this stuff. And then I edited it down, and we sent it over their satellite link, and it was used. I think it was used for Ministry of Defense PR, but also rumor has it that it was shown personally to the Queen. So a little claim to fame there for me. That was fun. So a lot of this stuff is staged, like the interviews and whatnot. You can hear me coughing in the background there.
Cloudy, actually, isn't it?
Yeah. It's just the worst day for it.
Mega cloudy.
Yes, but you have to understand that behind you there's blue
Because
sky.
they'll never know that, they can't see Everest. So we can go, God, look, you can see the second step really well. Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah, the mountain was completely covered in clouds. You couldn't see any of the North Face at all.
Background Tibetan music's actually getting a bit addictive, you know.
Yeah, you know you've been here for too long when you start to like the music.
I love Tibet. I just love Tibet. But I have to admit that Tibetan music is an acquired taste.
Good habit, so they
Look, you can barely see Changxi. Everest gone. Oh well, it's all for PR. There's Dave again.
That's better, isn't it? Can you see
Nice
the Nelson
against
Avenue?
Against the tent.
Nelson Avenue, in honor of Admiral Nelson, probably the most famous figure in Royal Navy history. And there's Nelson Avenue with all of their tents surrounding it. Oh, there's me coughing some more. I had really developed an enormous cough by this point, and one morning I woke up, I was in a lot of pain. I felt like I had pulled every muscle in my sternum, in my chest, and I walked over to the Royal Navy camp. I forget whether it had been the day before I was filming her or a couple days later, and talked to Andy. I said, Andy, is it possible to pull every muscle in your chest? And he said, no, I don't think so. Let's take a look at you. Took a look at me and came to the conclusion that I had broken a rib. The first of many on this trip. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that episode. You know, there will be some climbing footage coming up in the next several episodes from now. As I want to remind you, there's not a whole lot of climbing going on by any teams right now. So this is just kind of a glimpse into the everyday life at Everest while you're waiting to get back on the mountain. So there will be climbing in the future. There will be a summit day coming up in the next few weeks. I have all of the rest of the footage from 2003 in my computer, and I did that last weekend, so I was able to see what's coming up, and it was great to see that footage while I was getting it onto my hard drives. There's some really cool stuff coming up, so I'm really excited to show everyone. So the end is in sight, so to speak, from this 2003 expedition. But you know, it's hard to know how many episodes are left. It could be several months, but it'll all be entertaining. So thanks so much, everyone, and we'll rejoin you back at base camp next week. Thanks so much. The Rest of Everest is downloaded all over the world every week. If you enjoy watching and would like to show your support, then take a look at my website. Aside from having lots of additional blog entries from the expedition updated every week, there's this little donation button on every page. Now, many of you have pressed that button, and your generous contributions are helping to cover my hosting fees. If you haven't donated but would like to, then just contribute any amount. In return, I'll give you access to the video and audio dispatches I sent out while we were actually at Everest. It's pretty interesting stuff. Contribute $25 or more, and I'll even throw in an iPod-compatible version of the film Everest: The Other Side. That's the project the entire podcast here is based on. As always, our announcer is Marlon May, and our music is provided by Wendy Wu. Check her out at wendywu.com. Thanks so much, everyone, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you for watching The Rest of Everest. For more information on the expedition, please visit therestofeverest.com.
Surprise.